welcome to the stream. My name is Lee. I'm gonna take out this one. Um, sorry. Um, I was in girl mode earlier today, and I like the eyeshadow, so I'm keeping it. Even though I'm not a woman, because yes, it is Pride. So yay. Also, hi, welcome. If you're new here, I am Lee. I stream stuff. What sort of stuff? All sorts of random stuff. Greyhawk is Wednesdays. We do Greyhawk wiki editing. Thursdays is depends on the day. Warhammer 40k sometimes. Sometimes we do other stuff. We do planet building. We do world building. Yeah, we do world building of various sorts. We do reading and reviewing DTRPG supplements, which I think is what we're going to do today because next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, but the one after, we are doing a fundraiser for Trans Lifeline, which is gonna be awesome. So let me go to here. Let's just do that. Actually, you know what? Let's. Yeah, it's itchy. Let's. Yeah. Yeah, my ear itches. Okay. So there's that. I feel kind of like Council of the Geeks when she first came out as being gender fluid. Would do like a on-camera transformation and put her earrings in and stuff, and it's kind of cool. Uh, but you know, um, yeah, she did that at the start of videos, and um, yeah, I don't know if she uses she, they. I should probably poke into that. Emily presents much more feminine than she did at the start. So, um, okay, that is a very cool YouTuber who you should check out. Has some interesting takes on stuff. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do a thing. There's a fly. It's very annoying. But I had a thought, which was stuff. I had a plan. Oh yes, my plan was to open the Broncoloni app. So I'm going to. All right. So I have this one, Furious Lands and other. Um, let's see. This is Furious Lands and other dirty jobs. That's this one. Is this? Uh, yeah. So that's this one. Um, is this the? No, it's. I think it's just. Let me see something. Yeah, no, this is just a. That's just two copies of the same one. Okay, so there's that. Um. Mm-hmm. Oh, we do have a bestiary. Okay, so I wasn't sure if we had the bestiary. Where is this one? Cool. Okay, it's in. All right, so I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna start moving. Okay, we're gonna do a moving around. So what I'm gonna do? Oh yes, I can show you Brancolonia. While I do this, let me show you. So this is Brancolonia. Um, this is let's see, Furious Lands and Other Dirty Jobs. It's a supplement. It's one of my newer ones. I back a lot of them on Kickstarter. There's a bundle, but I was trying to figure out if I should get the bundle that they're just putting out now. If I already have them, I've just accrued. I backed a couple of their things on Kickstarter. I've gotten lots of PDFs of them. I don't have any of the physical copies, but I have way too many physical books anyway. So, um, yeah. And okay, so we're gonna do Brancolonia. I'm gonna show you some stuff. I'm going to work on it with my end, a little back end stuff, and we'll talk about it while I do. Then we'll go through. I'll show you some of the fun stuff in Brancolonia. I've done streams on Brancolonia before. I probably should, if I had. I'll take an administrative day at one point and do a playlist of all the Brancolonia stuff. if I can. But you know, um, yeah, this is Bruncalonia. Akron Games. I will also put a link to them, but after I need stretch and I have liquid, but stretch time. I'm gonna take a stretch break. You should do the same thing. Get yourself some liquid, and then we'll be back to talk Bruncalonia and do some back end nonsense. Sound good? Cool. Let me open this. Yep. Uh, the mic is live, but your what was I gonna say? The Twitch ad thing is bleh. You know? There we go. Okay. Hey, you want a snack? Do you want a snack? Hey, Jordan, you want a snack? Just a tiny snack. Tiny little snack, in case you're hungry. I know I shouldn't be feeding you so often, you know, but you seem to be a hungry fellow, so if you want, a little something something, if you're feeling in the mood. Okay? Okay. Alright. Pop. Oh, I still have. Yeah. Okay, look at more liquid. Yum, yum, yum. Yes, you are. Okay. No. Okay. I'm back. I got the fish a snack. I'm not doing a snack for me because a friend of mine, like, the chewing sound on stream is kind of obnoxious, and a friend who has the misophonia, I believe is the term. You just do not do well with certain sounds, and chewing is a common trigger for sound. And blah, I felt bad about that, but also eating on the stream helped me stem. So I'm trying, we're trying stuff. Let's see. Ooh, poke. Yee. Yay. Bomb. Okay. Bah. Okay. I'm on stream right now. Okay. Okay. Yee. Okay, so let me do Majiki What's It. Alright, so we're setting up the streams for charity streams. We're still looking for. I got a couple. I got like 4 players, I think. Boom, 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 and boom. Yeah, I have 4 players so far, and a 5th. A couple more who haven't gotten back to me yet. So we'll have 5, maybe 5 or 6, probably just 4. Is gonna be Awesome Sauce. Oh right, and the thing I promised I would. I'm doing political organizing too, but that's a whole other story. Today we do Bruncalonia. We are raising money for Trans Lifeline, and I will have the Tiltify up, and I'll put it on the Discord when I get it up. And if you look through the Discord on the stuff seen on stream section, there will be somewhere up there a link to Akron Games, and they do Bruncalonia and Helvetown, which I had not played before. But I ran a session of it at Concoction, except nobody signed up because it was I've had a very poor description of it. So I set up the table with a little sign saying, "Hey, come learn demoing and needed players," and just kind of sat. And I had a bunch of people come and sit and play, and we ran them through truncated combat scenarios to get a feel for the system, and it was a lot of fun. Met some cool people. Unfortunately, there's that. So, okay, let's see. This volume has been ruined by. Oh, I'm gonna bump this up so I can read it. Buona Corso. Buona Corso de Vunci, who, despite the punishments received for every other time he's done this, he has stained, greased, and ripped everything he possibly could. This time, the vandal has been sent to the stocks and targeted with rotten fruits and vegetables for a total of 2 days. Furious Lands and Other Dirty Jobs. It's Brancolonia something like Furious Lands and Other Jobs is an anthology of campaigns and adventures for the Brancolonia Spaghetti Fantasy. That is a translation error. That's okay. RPG heading for 5e of the world's greatest role-playing game. Yee. That's the little fun little workaround they've been using. Um, Based on Italian customs, folklore, history, lands, fiction, and pop culture. Game by Akron Games. I think it's Akron Games. Fierce Lands Under the Jobs, an anthology campaign and features adventures for Brancolonia. So Samuel Maurola, I just emailed him. I had been doing emails back and forth the first time I did Brancolonia. When I was doing Sister Carolina, her fundraising. We were doing a fundraiser for her. That was the first Brancolonia fundraiser. Now you guys are 5th level, so let me open up the original Brancolonia briefly. Let's see. Fierce Lands, Bounty Kingdom, Gazetteer, Spaghetti Fantasy Setting. This is the first one. Yeah, this is the original. Credits. I think there was. No Life Heroes. 42. I think it's suggesting up into. The advancement plan for Brancolonia characters covers 6 levels only. So you guys, so the 5th level characters that they're playing are going to be pretty solid. Bob. Let's see. No. 27. Yes, okay. March 18th through the 21st. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so yes, I am going to figure out how to get GaryCon next year because it's one more of my roster of cons, which I thought included more cons than it did, which is good. So, all right, but yum yum. Sorry, my little fish is eating, and he's at the surface of the water, and he's adorable, and I enjoy having a fish in my life. Those of you who knew that I had several on stream. I've shown them off on stream before. I actually wrecked a computer because I had McVenner in his bowl that I held up the bowl to the computer and sloshed it. He was fine. The computer was not. I'm glad he was fine and not fine anymore, but he was at the time, which is good. Computer not so much. That was before I had the tank, but yeah. So fish. That was years ago. Oh wow. I've been streaming for quite a while now. And okay. Yes. Boom, 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 boom. Yes. Okay. So, what's he doing? Oh yes. So, I am going. Brancolonia. Sorry. So low level only goes up to level 6. So these guys are exceptionally powerful. I'm thinking that they are rescuing another group of low lives who are like 2nd level. They're rescuing other NPCs. Yeah, they're gonna have to. The rescue missions are good. Um. Um. Oh, and the superstitions. She said, yes, they talked to an old Strega. Yeah, they talked to an old Strega, and she said that this. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm shaping the fundraiser to go. So, those of you who do fundraiser knows that every time I do one, Broncolonia or no, basically I find an excuse to give the players a magical deck of cards. Not the deck of many things specifically, but something similar in theory. They are exceptionally powerful, and they have weird restriction where only certain people can pull them and only under certain conditions. The meta condition is that the party can pull them if people donate to the fundraiser. If no one donates to the fundraiser, no cards. I usually donate enough to them to pull a few cards just to get the ball rolling. And one year we had so many donations. Last time we had so many donations in the first days leading up to the fundraiser that I had to what did I have to do? Oh yeah, I had to re-up the price per card and then do double the cards just so that there would be a fighting chance of them not getting all of them. They did get all of them. It was great. But my point on that was yes. So that was the last time I did Broncolonia for Trans Lifeline, which was Sister Katarina. Um let's see. Um let's see. Shoddy and counterfeit equipment. And their cost will determine the cost of prices. However, the native supply is usually pretty modest, and therefore they have cheap and counterfeit equipment at their disposal, especially at the beginning of their adventures. So you can have cheap, Temu version, to use modern parlance. Um, yeah, so, and it has problems. Yeah, so Rollick. Leaves Rest. Kingdom Regard. Setting a different way than Adventure do elsewhere. Players recommended a short rest of 8 hours must be taken in the absence of any particularly inconvenience or hassle, and a long rest of 7 days be taken under the same condition and preferably in their den or in a cozy dive. Yeah, so basically, you need it's the gritty setting rules where you need a full night's sleep counts as a short rest, and um, the full 7 days counts as a long rest. That was last Broncolonia campaign. Funny story. I so I should be doing stuff. Let's see. Um, oh, okay. So yes, I am here. Right, I can't do that one while we do it. Okay. I can do some of the others. I have a Broncolonia somewhere. I think I had a Broncolonia. I do. I have a Broncolonia file. So I'm just trying to move. I'm trying to move some of my stuff around and reorganize some of the stuff on the computer. But didn't recommend it. So what I was going to say is, last time they started off having crashed with another band's den, and then there was a cute pasta maker who was working for them had basically had this terrible burn scar on his face and was just kind of running from an abusive father and was trying to figure something out and ended up in this den and made pasta. Was really good at pasta making, so basically spent his days making pasta and um, vibing, and it wasn't great, but it was a life away from the asshole you didn't want to deal with. So fine. And then the band, they stayed for a week in the den because someone owed them. They owed one of those guys a favor, and they had been fireballed twice by they'd been fireballed by a client who was supposed to pay them and didn't, and they were like, saw the second fireball forming at third level. 2 fireballs is not. So they just ran. So aggression is better, part of valor, and just ran. They ended up at the den. Spent a week there, and then they were broke, but they had a job that they'd heard of. An abbey had put out a call. A convent had put out a call like they needed someone, a country of heroes, to come do a thing. So they go, and they find out. The nuns were trying to dig out the sisters were trying to dig out a secondary basement, and ended up some sort of really deadly ancient temple lair thing, and they needed some brave adventurers who were willing to work on the cheap to go and deal with it. And Sister Katarina was Sister Vincenza had this magical deck because she had been trans and she had gotten a physical transition by making a deal with the turquoise, which are fairies. Um, and so she had this magic deck. And so Sister Katarina also um, wanted to transition and was living with the nuns. The nuns were allowing her to live there, but she really wanted to be like proper physical transition. So Sister Vincenza went to the party and said, "Here, the fairy godfather said that if you can pull the cards, but I don't know, I can't pull the cards, but it's glowing, so you can." So they pull all these cards. They get silver weapons off the first couple cards. I stacked them that way, and then after that, they got +3 silvered weapons and stuff. And then they went down into the thing and they started pulling other cards and they got other cool magical stuff. Because we had so many donations right up front, they could pull as many as they wanted. Um, and I started at toward the end of the adventure. We were pushing up on time, and we'd rolled raised enough to pull all the cards. So they were just started pulling them, and at the last card was the turquoise, the freed fairy, who agreed to grant Sister Katarina her transition and gave them a magic ring to thank him for freeing them. And then, because he'd been trapped by a other fae and turquoise creature, and he needed out. So, but they got all these cool magical items out of it, including some of them weren't even magical. Some of them were just random stuff, including 2d6 cows. I was just like, you know what? Sure. So they have these cows, and then they were like, hey, remember the cute pasta maker that you were describing in the first part of the campaign? And I was like, yes. I did not specify the gender, to be fair, but can I go marry him? I'm like, well, we can use the cows as dowry, and I said, okay, I guess maybe. Um, um, yeah. And so they did. And then one of the players who was, oh, I have performance skill. Can I do a serenade? I'm like, sure. Rolled pretty well on the serenade. And I was like, you know what? He's impressed with the cows and the serenade and the general, thinking, even though he has this facial scar. You know what? Sure. He will agree to a proposal. And um, they got a happily ever after, and I wrote a codex for them. But the little happily ever after with the little thingy. Um, it was very exciting stuff. But yeah, that was the campaign. We had, we had one barbarian. We had one Morgan barbarian. Um, I think the player kept saying she, but I think they officially used they. The player themselves was she they and had I remember I said, oh, you're she her, and she's like, oh no, she they, and I'm like, oh well, sure, I can change it, and they were pleased with that, so that's cool. They're still a friend, just I can't get her to come onto the channel because they're super busy, which I get, um, including like a theatrical production and being on another stream, and but they were the early rogue trader. They She was in one of the rogue traders as Jantine. Um, uh, the One of the explorers. Anyway, but also in the last Broncolonia game. Rachel Curia, I think. I'll find a way to link her. The Twitch. But what was I going to say? Oh yes, cool things. Point being on all of that. Oh yeah, and ended up, her character ended up married to the cute pasta maker, and they lived happily ever after with the cows. And you're like, yes, but now I have cows. And the milk, the ring would not come off. It was that magical and would not come off, but which made milking the cows difficult. But that was the little codex I wrote for them. Which was exactly the length of one Discord message. Oh, right. So, long story short, the names rest is a thing. I'm probably going to do the same thing I did for that one, which is they start at rest, probably in their own den. And then, because they're the higher level from Colonia, and then they're going to sit in their own den and hang out, and then be called off to go rescue stupid newbie. And yes, that is going to be fun. Um, uh, um, rest. Um, oh yes. Yes. Basically, the den is like they have sort of layer building. Okay. Yeah. So they have a whole layer, like a not a layer building, but like a um, fortress. What's the term? There's a specific term for that kind of thing. Base building. They build a base, which is called a den, and I'm gonna have players have one because at the other adventure they were hanging out in someone else's den. This one they have their own. They're more powerful too. That one's third level. So these guys are fifth level, so they have their own den. I think they had one, they just couldn't get to it, and we're just trying to like get off there. So there's that. Um, 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 yes. Yeah, it's a sort of okay. Hang on. So that's the main setting. Okay, yes, I'm supposed to also be doing stuff behind the scenes. Um, Macaronicon. Let's see. The bestiary. I have a copy of the bestiary, so I'm gonna put the bestiary in here, and then we'll poke into it. Um, okay. Hmm. Okay. Um, so there's that, and if I close this, all right. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna move to that one. We're gonna do. This is the supplement. Fear Land and Other Dirty Jobs. Um, Appendix. Midwinter's Evening Dream. This adventure is traced based on the deeds of characters and players who created it while playing during the Furious Lands campaign organized by Castelvetio de Scarafigna, Luca Crea, and Acheron Games. Oh yeah, so they actually had played it. They did like a playtesting event and then based the published adventure on it, which is kind of cool, actually. So now that that's closed, I should be able to do this and go in here. Beautiful. Okay, so ooh, last sound of Casimir. Oh right. Is this? Hmm. Huh. Okay, never mind. So yeah, we have a lot of. Give me 30 seconds to check what this is. Oh, yep, that is that. Okay, so I'm trying to do a little bit of this. We're gonna go from put that there. Okay, I'm going to then shut this down, and we're gonna go back to the original Broncolonia, but playtesting. Winter One Night of Many pestilence delights around the city of Piombara and built for and by the generous city princes. A delight or delightful palace is now other than a traditional princely palace, open to court life and featuring a strong link between nature and artifice, architecture and spectacle, and therefore prominently a location for pleasure and revelry. There used to be around 50 um, Pestense delights between those in the town and those around the countryside, including villas, palaces, hunting lodges, summer retreats built by Peste in the previous decades. The specific villa and with garden dedicated almost exclusively to banquets and entertainment sees Vicoludo Arosto being tasked with setting up a masquerade held between the 12th night and carnival during the midwinter holiday. So midwinter masquerade. Arosto started his career as a court man of letters with Strecole the first Peste, father of the current Duke Count, and is for the Peste that he also wrote comedies, prepared receptions, and set up theater pieces. So he's a bard of the court, does theater stuff. I probably won't end up using this because I'm usually what I do generally set up my own plots rather than do these, but it's fun. Maybe I'll do a random roll table in like for what province I'm going to set it in, and then go from there. That could be fun. There are so many provinces, and there's so much detail, and it's so cool. And um, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Um, that could be a fun way to do it. But oh, sorry, we're bouncing around a little bit. Oh yes. So the event itself was sumptuous and brilliant, and Ariosto and his aides arranged choreographies, mechanical marvels, dances and masquerades, and live role-playing games of the time. The theme for the event was Fey Kingdom, and the masquerade is mocking Fey and fairies of tradition, but also the characters of Ariosto's most famous piece, the Whimsy of Arnaldo. Most of the characters you meet at event plays the part of someone from the epic. Drawn to all this, however, was an actual fey creature, petty and vengeful, and with the intention of extracting revenge upon the mocking mortals, casting curses and causing chaos. During the party itself, after he entered our world through the Hobwell, allegedly an actual gate to the Fey realm, in Castelvecchio de Scrafgana. He took the form of Brunello, a rowdy and cheerful dwarf, and brought along a group of musicians and entertainers, his followers and servants known as Meneci, to sow more chaos during the party. The Meneci are actually mannequins, wooden creatures that look entirely human thanks to the power of extravaganza, which is the turquoise wooden extravaganza. So, extravaganza is Fey energy, and the turquoise, that's what they call Fey in Brancalonia. It is um, a very Italian spin on Fey. But turquoise wood is this one very specific type of tree that grows in a high magic concentration area. And you can use it to make marionettes. And actually, there's a playable marionette race in the. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Spaghetti Fantasy setting. Back to the original. And I will show you the marionette race. Just as an aside. We're bouncing around a lot because Brancalonia is cool. And I would highly recommend it. It's on. Oh, there is a bundle. Through Bundle of Holding, you can get Brancalonia, like all of it, for very reduced. Let me find that for you, actually. Sorry, I know I'm bouncing around a lot, but let's see what we can do. Um, um, 11 days. So let me go here, here, and I will put it on the links to stuff seen on stream. So, that is the channel, um, um, yes, and there was all the stuff I ended up doing GaryCon and Charge of Artisan, Hell of a Town, yes. That's the other Akron games. They do Brancalonia and do Hell of a Town. Yes, and the Tiefling video that I riffed off of, and yes, old friend whose stream I used to be on is releasing. Yeah, okay. So basically, if you go to the Discord and go to the links to stuff seen on stream, every time I mention like, oh, there's a thing I want to share with you guys, I will usually put links. Like I put a link to the Brancalonia bundle and Akron Games and stuff like that is in there because I want to share with you guys all this cool stuff. That's kind of what we do. A big part of what a lot of the streams on my channel was just, uh, hey, this is a fun thing I have that I backed on Kickstarter and randomly found in my files that I forgot I had. Let's look over it together and see how cool it is. Brancalonia was like that, and then I decided, hey, let's play it, and it's really fun. So I want to do more, and I knew I could because I've done it before, And so the fundraiser is a little last minute, so because I wanted to make sure I did one during June for all of that. Okay, pre-roll is on. Let me see. Um, Usually I try to do a stretch break occasionally when pre-roll's on, just to balance it out, because and also we got very distracted. Um, Oh, I spelled distracted wrong. Yay, there you go. I have a very fun little one. I don't know who I got in here. Not many viewers. That's okay. Um, you know, we have a small, there hasn't been a lot of people recently in the stream, but we have some fun. Um, cool. So, Brancalonia. Oh, I want to show you the puppet. So this is the original. When I can go here is they have the Brancalonia knaves. We have the races: humans, gifted, Morgant, Sylvan, Marinette, which is, and then Malbranche. Okay, so Marinette. Marionettes are extraordinarily rare, but in recent centuries their presence has become increasingly common in cities, theaters, and companies, along with that of marottes and other artifact creatures made of trifle wood, aka turquoise wood, once grown exclusively in the most remote areas of Kutsagni, and impossible to find. Materials now being cultivated in various places around the kingdom with the turquoise authorization, and more freely exploited. Due to the rarity of this wood, marionettes are usually of classic childlike sizes, of humanoid features, but assorted experiments and variations are occasionally tried. We have a marionette barbarian, which is we're gonna have one. Who's playing marionette barbarian? One of my players, who is in right now in the chat. Um, uh, yes, Muso, Brad, who is friend who will be appearing in the upcoming stream. I think this is his first live stream on, his first live stream. So be kind when he comes on. Yes, he's agreed to a friend who has agreed to do that. So, what was I going to say? Um, let's see. What was I going to do? Oh, yes, Brooklyn. Sorry. Yes. Look, like entirely artificial creatures of burnished wood with joints, painted parts, mechanical elements, and would be totally inert without the powerful extravaganza that animates them. The features can be those of a child, adult, or elderly, male, female, or female person of different ethnicities and shapes. In any case, the true nature soon emerges, and by varying degrees and more or less spontaneously, they reach their ideal inner form. The rifled nucleus generally corresponds to the heart and head of the marionette, and its removal or destruction is as lethal as similar maiming of a human being. And you got a picture of one marionette. Rough carved, with you can still kind of see the branches coming out. In the past, as a reward for jobs and tasks to end or to end the suffering and humiliation of a lifetime, famous marionettes asked and obtained leave from the turquoise to become real human beings. These days, in a world that has learned to accept them for who they are, marionettes are often happy to be themselves. Um, Puppets, woodguts, painted as. So this is nickname marionette in accurate and sportist movement for the rights of wooden people used later as an official connotation. Um, um, oh yeah, so these are some names that they tend to have. Um, Families rarely use surnames. Their most ancient, famous, and powerful dynasty of that of the Cherries celebrated puppeteers in their own right. Um, so they don't have a lot of last names because they don't have family succession. Um, um, but again, make other marionettes. Um, among the kingdom's common inhabitants, marionettes compete with the non-existence for the funniest being distinction, even surpassing Malebranche and talking animals. In the old days, people viewed marionettes as fae and miraculous beings, but for some decades now they've been grown accustomed to their still exceptional but no longer inconceivable presence. The fact that they are generally employed as entertainers, actors, and musicians has brought marionettes widespread acceptances in towns and villages, while also rendering them a bad service. Most commoners see them as buffoons and jesters and find it hard to recognize them as real people. In the course of their lives, regardless of the mood or type of performance they happen to be engaged in, marionettes will be heckled with "make us laugh" puppet and similar humiliations over and over again. Yeah, dexterity and constitution, each by one. And then the subtype gives you a second one. Are born at time of manufacture, and their age is represented by the features the government gives them, and usually adolescent or adult. Their nature is both resilient and fragile, and they age and deteriorate along with the wood they're made of. Dreadfully begins to deteriorate after a few decades and rarely exceeds half a century. So basically, instead of aging the way a human does, the wood starts to get iffy because wood is it does break down. It is subject to decay, and um, the magic, even the magic can only do so much with that. And yeah, wood does break down. Unfortunately, biodegrades, and if you're made of wood, um, yeah, that kind of means that's what happens. Okay, you guys can see, right? Yes. Okay. So let's see what else. All right, we're good. Also, if you have any questions or want me to like go over certain other parts of the what's it uh what's the one um setting supplement, let me know. Actually, I think Puppeteers is in the Macronomicon. um Average about 3 feet tall and weigh about 40 pounds. Size is small. Walking speed is 25 feet. Trifle with construct. You're immune to poison, and immunity to poison condition. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. You are immune to disease, except for wood diseases. Yeah, so they're immune to diseases, but not stuff like termites or other wood. There are some really nasty stuff that rots wood, and not magical stay wood. Vulnerability to fire damage. Um, as long as your food core is not destroyed, you're able to repair yourself with these, adding 2d8 to the maximum number of hit dice you can spend at the end of a short rest. You regain this trait spent hit dice upon finishing a long rest. Um, Brawl feature, movable limb. Okay, so there is an entire subsection of brawls, which is bar fights, essentially. So you would use there's a whole mechanic, like a subsystem, like a mini game kind of like a subsystem for how to handle bar fights rather than actual combat, where you deal smacks and you beat each other up, but it's non-lethal combat. Essentially, it's a type of non-lethal combat for funsies and for pride when you're drunk and someone insults you and you won't let it lie because you're both drunk and it's just bar fights. Yeah, I have a whole mechanic for bar fights called brawling, and each um, type, different the races and the different. I think humans have one. Each race and each subclass have an extra brawling feature. If you play racing class from outside Broncolonia, you can. And there's a whole thing on, well, if you have like elves or dwarves, they could have come across the mountains maybe. It's not possible, but you have to give them other brawling features. I think if you wanted to do that, I mean, you could pick through and find ones that are suited to them, and then have that as extra bonus ones. But this one, removable limb. As a bonus action during a brawl, you can detach a limb and use it as a common prop. Unlike normal common props, your limb is not lost after use. Um, Different shapes. Although most common marionettes is the Pinocchio, there are other shapes of marionettes. Choose one of these subraces. There's only two so far. But I think there are more in other supplements. Yeah, I think there's those two, and then in later supplements there's more. Um, Considered many as performers and actors traveling theater trips. Charisma score increases by one. You have disadvantage on wisdom checks, insight checks. See, that's the thing about fifth edition things is they usually do wisdom parentheses insight, and I'm like, just say insight check, because I think the theory is that you can swap out different freaking you can, if you don't have the skill, just do a wisdom check, and also you can use other. Well, here's the thing: you can use other characteristics as it's a variant, but you can use other characteristics for checks. Like you can say, okay, you're going to do intimidation with strength is the main one, but there are others um uh like if you're trying to um medicine is usually a knowledge yeah, medicine check is, I think it was medicine. Um is technically usually an intelligence, but you could argue it as wisdom. It's like, do you notice symptoms? Um, like how much you notice symptoms, like stuff like that. You can make cases for other ones, and it is, there's variance. Um, but or perform if you're doing like um gym bro, like if you're doing a strength based acrobatics, you could do perform strength to do something like that. I would allow it as gym. My point is, if you had performance proficiency but high strength and we're doing like handstand push-ups to show off, I would say, well, okay, roll a performance, but you can use your strength modifier with that. There are variants. Oh, my point is, I don't like that they do them this way, and I don't know if you were using some other characteristic for insight for some reason, if that would carry over the disadvantage. I feel like they should just say insight checks. Like, just say insight checks, not wisdom insight. Like, that is really screwy with my head. I find that very annoying and not a good notation for it. And it is the standard notation in third-party supplements. I think it's the third standard in the player's handbook too. And it should not be notated like that. It bugs me. Anyway, that is my rant for today. No more ranting. I'm keeping an eye on time too. But what are we up to? Yes. Okay. So Pinocchio then. The most typical Zagarian puppets have been created by mimicking ancient paladins' distinctive appearance and attitudes, and they are generally quite belligerent. The shape is made with parts of brass armor grafted directly into the wood, which therefore become part of its very nature. No benefit from wearing armor, but can instead benefit bonus offered by a shield. So kind of like Warforged. AC is equal to 12 plus your dexterity modifier. Maximum of 2 plus proficiency bonus. Oh, so your AC, you can get proficiency bonus to the AC. That's pretty good, actually. Um, yeah, adding proficiency to AC is that's clutch, actually. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like Warforged where you can't just wear armor; you have to upgrade your shell. And I don't know if they would allow people to do that. Um, hi. Yes. Oh, thank you for the bits. Very kind of you. Oh, that puts you at number one, actually. Um, yay, because it reset recently. Um, so that's cool. Oh, and I was going over Broncolonia stuff because we're poking through at stuff. Just the fun stuff. Actually, Elkintar is going to be on the stream playing a Morgant. So that's fun. We could do that next, actually. But yes, that is so. One of our players playing Pupo, Barbarian, which I think fits. Like, yeah, okay, that is good combo. Bronchi, um, Marionette. Morgant is Sylvan. Morgant, yes. Commonly described as demi-giants, though whether they are truly descended from giants remains a mystery. So they're sort of similar thematically to um, Goliaths, up until including they have the not quite large, but you can act certain large type things that Goliaths and a few other 5e races have. Um, um, Given that such legendary beings have not been seen around the kingdom for at least 500 years, during which Morgans have remained unchanged. What's more, numerous folk tales and legends speak of an ancient kingdoms and communities of millenary Morgans from which the current specimens are said to descend, indicating that these beings are probably another human species that evolved alongside common humans and Sylvans. Typically 7 to 8 feet tall, Morgans are large and massive, famous for their binging, drinking, and brawling, and for their feisty habits. As with humans, Morgans seen around the kingdom can have the most disparate physical traits, complexions of any color, from milky to dark, their hair ranging from curly red locks to thick, wiry black manes. Their cultures and societies are also varied, having evolved in parallel with those of humans. Whales, bruisers, juggernauts, fatzos, pachyderms. Yeah, so that's the slang terms that other groups use for each group, which is interesting. And then they have some names, typical female names. Think I think I made an extra Morgant character in case, like, oh, you was like, I want to play. I don't know if I can play. I'm like, I will make you a character, and then if you can, turns out you can't play last minute, I could just jump in. Couldn't, but I had an extra one kicking around. Surnames are sort of titles, names of father and mothers, name of the father or mother, name of city of origin. Um, the customs of enlisting Morgans in armies and mercenary companies as champions and stormtroopers, and of arming and training them to commit slaughter, has meant that these beings are generally considered formidable fighters and raiders. Owing to their enormous and proportionate appetite and their equally proverbial propensity for brawls, Morgans are seen as brawly dealers of slaps and punches, not to mention insatiable consumers of troughs of beans and omelets and numberless crafts of wine. Truth be told, they are meek and accommodating, their natural disposition being more like that of cattle and pachyderms than bloodthirsty predators. But of course, Inferno knows no fury like a good person turned bad. Um, I feel like that's a common Italian proverb that got translated into English and sounds really janky in translation. So one of these things you might notice from the cadence of the text is that it was translated from Italian, and you can see it. You can see the shape of the translation in there, where they use constructions that you're like, yes, that's technically correct English, but I don't think um, an English speaker would use that. Or they use thesaurusy words that you were like, oh yeah, no, that's a cool word. Not in common usage anymore. Common usage 100, 200 years ago maybe sounds kind of cool, but like it's not in common parlance enough that anyone would use it. But it's fun, and it is a very specific style, and I don't know if that's because it was from Italian or the translator wanted to capture that style, but it's interesting, and like you can tell it's translated in the best possible way. Like it's fun, and you get the flavor of the original language while still being able to understand it as a non-speaker, which I think is kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah, that particular saying is like, yep, that is probably an Italian proverb that got translated and sounds a little janky as translation, but it's enough. You're like, yes, that makes sense. Strength Constitution scores increased by 2. Ooh, 2 each. Life expectancy Morgan is identical to that of human or slightly lower. 7 and 9 feet tall, size is medium. Base walk speed is 30 feet. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and weight you can push, drag, or lift. Yep, that's the same one Goliaths have, and Luxodon and other 5e species, races. Yeah. Hit point maximum increases by 1 and increases 1 every time you gain a level. So you get leveled up hit points. Cast iron stomach. Yeah, penta. All right. You know what? We're gonna look. We're gonna go. This is one of the few that I'm like, I need a dictionary for this. Let me. Is that an actual English word? Oxford English Dictionary. Pantagruelic is there's one meaning in Oxford in meaning and usage for so there's one oh okay, that is not the one. Wiktionary, free dictionary. Okay, this one is so another dictionary, but it is okay. Literary and literary critical, so it's a literary term. A gigantic prince noted for his ironic buffoonery in Rebia's. Let's see. A person, great size or statue. Um, okay, so it is. It isn't. Gargantua is. Who's rebellious? Um, we are going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Um, Francois Rabelais is a French writer. So he is a satirist. Okay, so a satirist, and he wrote boom, a particular um, person of great size or stature. Okay, yes, Pantagruel. Um, it is a giant prince noted for his ironical buffoonery in the this guy sat. Okay, so this is 1534. So Renaissance era satire. Pantagruel was a giant prince noted for his ironical buffoonery. So Um, Pentagorillic is an adjective derived from that, and that references it. Like Shakespearean is an adjective that's used in to invoke in the style of the this famous author, the Bard, who actually was probably right around the same time period actually, as I think he wrote the 1590s. I want to say. Um, yeah. So that is that. Okay. So yeah, they wrote within the same century. So not exactly the same time period, but um, same broad historical era. Anyway, Pentagorillic is a reference to this, is an adjective derived from this particular um, satire piece, Gigantic Prince, known as for his ironical buffoonery. And we all learned a thing today. So, yay. I'm going to put a link to that into the links to stuff seen on stream spot in the Discord because we learned a thing today. And um, yeah, we learned a thing. This is fun. Like sometimes we do lookups and we learn things. Okay, so given your Pentagorillic bulk, you have to consume double the rations needed to feed a human. However, thanks to your natural resistance to overindulging, you have advantage on all ability checks concerning consumption of food and drinks. You can collect epic procs as a bonus action. Epic procs meaning like using a table, like um, in a brawl, if you like which is the technically bar brawl. Like an epic prop is something big like a table that you can grab, but it takes an action, but you can do it as a bonus action if you're a Morgant because you're a big beefy badass. Um, yeah, so that's Morgant. So we have that, and then the other. Let's see. Yes. Oh, so that's the Fears Land specific one. Hang on, let me find. Uh, Bounty. Okay, we're gonna go. How are we doing? Um, what I was going to say was I'm gonna check to see what else I know. Morgan Sword Fighter. Cause Bink's Strunk Lady. Yep. We'll also art. Uh, Theater of the Mind. Um, um, yeah. Yes. So, yeah. Um, yeesh. Um, yes. Theater of the Mind. Actually, I could do Fantasy Grounds. Problem with Fantasy Grounds is that my computer. Um, 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 yes. Uh, um, uh, Um, I was gonna say I do not think this machine can handle. Like it's already the heat is, and I have the cooling system set up that I usually have with and it's still like I have air circulation and ice and not directly on it, but close enough that it's starting to melt and by the excess heat, and it is still all I'm running is obs and okay, yes, I'm running like 6 tabs and trying to find all the stuff like yeah, multiple tabs of not even Tiltify in the like not even streaming tabs, like regular old whatever tabs. Um, yes. Um, 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 oh yeah. So find Orosto's wits. The secret to taking care of Brunello, his magics and charms, and regain Orosto's wits is blood scream extravaganza. And answer the creature's anagram of the creature's real names. It also points out how the powers and magic of the Faken only work if people believe in them. Reducing them to just extravaganzas means pulling the curtain of the real secret of the Fae and mages. Magic doesn't actually exist. It's just a trick that works in the minds of those who want to believe. The secret would only idly used during the final stage of the adventure. It would unravel the whole plot. Condottiero, however, should start seeding clues and pointers throughout the story. Brunel's real name, how he uses his name to cast spells, and how the anagram can spell out his defeat. And so that's the whole thing: is you are assigned to find this guy's brains. Essentially, they put his wits in a bottle, so he's kind of out of it in some way, and you're just escorting him. It's an escort mission to keep him from doing anything stupid. This actually sounds really cool. At the same time as you're defeating this Fey creature. So this is actually a if you want to play it through, it could be very fun. Um, I'm not doing it for the fundraiser, but it could be quite fun. Um, but yeah, that's this one. We're bouncing back and forth a lot. I want to see something. I think in Macaronicon. So Macaronicon is the first supplement book, and I think it was a stretch goal in the first Kickstarter campaign. This is some art. Uh, Macaronicon. Um, okay, it is. Is it a? Yeah, it is a double-sided. Creative director internal version. Direction of internal version. Editing, Masa Facchini. Argo Longo. Adventures by, let's see, table and content creation. Other contributions. Does it mention the layout game? English translation, Sarah Jane Webb and Epic Party Games. English editing and proofreading, John Marin. Sarah Jane Webb is the translator, and I think she did a fantastic job with this, honestly. I wonder if she's. Hang on. This is the original, right? I want to see if they list the translator on this one. I know several translators, and it is an art form, and it is quite a let's see, English translation. Sarah Jane Webb. Yep, she's their translator, and she did a good job of it, I will say. Native English. Yeah, you usually have. So, what I've heard from translators is that you usually have someone who knows the language you're translating into as preference. Like Sarah Jane Webb sounds like an English speaking name, although I don't know her background. Or even that she uses her actually. But yeah, you want someone who knows the language you're translating into. But she did a good job of capturing the Italianness of it without, but still making it understandable. Okay. What was I gonna say? All right. I think okay, that's an ad. So we're gonna. Oh, I can't snooze it. All right. So we're gonna have an automatic ad break, and actually, it probably should start this. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have a stretch break. I'm going to check on one thing in the Macronomicon that we're gonna see if that I'm gonna do a stretch break. I'm gonna do that. Oh, I was gonna look up the artists. Adventures cover art is Lorenzo Nuti. I do like to appreciate cover artists because, like, dang, that's impressive, you know? Show off artists. We stand artists. And on the stream. Yes. And artwork is Nicolas Alteri, Alessandro Bellucci, Andrea Casicaro, Casca, Cassiaro, Era Marone, Filippo Negato, Lorenzo Nuti. Oh, he did the cover, but he did the other art too. Moreno Pacien, Fabio Profidia, Vittorio Santi, and Melissa Spandri. Okay, hang on. Let me. Boop. Okay, hang on. Stretch break time. Blah. I need. Oh, that's from the post office. All right. Oh. Blah. Okay. Here we go. We're back. I have stretched out a little bit. Hopefully you guys did stretching too. It's always good to stretch. Okay. So, very talented artists is my point. Okay, so let me actually see something. If the specific previously published Zappa and Spada anthologies previously published by Akron Books. Okay, hang on. Did based on Italian. Just want to see something. Is there did the specific artist sign? No, no specific artist signed anything. Okay. Yes. Oh, the backer number because it was a. So stuff you get from Kickstarter backing will have your name and in this corner here, so that if someone finds out you've been, I don't know, selling the PDFs on the black market as opposed to sharing with your friends, they can track it back and be like, yeah, no, they were doing the bad thing. I don't know if anyone actually uses it. I know I did get Kindle Obscura, but they for a charity one shot that I was in, and they said please don't share it around because I'll get in trouble because my name is on the file. So okay, but I want to say Tavern Fights and Empty Saddlebags. Oh, Life Heroes. Okay, this is Spaghetti Fan Macaronicon. Okay, so this is Macaronicon. Same translator. Let's see. I wanted to say new names of Broncolonia. New Marionette subraces. Yep. New races. Wolfcat, non-existent. Puppeteer. Class Puppeteer. Okay, so the class is on page 12. And the subclasses. Mountaineer. Bard, Cleric, Fighter, Monk, Paladin. So they have new subclasses for all of the most of the classes and new personalities and backgrounds. Okay, that is kind of cool. So Macaronomicon. During the game's crowdfunding campaign carried out in spring of 2020, at its debut, Dunkeloni was the most successful Italian RPG in Kickstarter, and at the time of the writing these words, is still the first for the number of supporters. All signs of appreciation of vivacity that pushed forward to go more enthusiastically. Most classical and weird pseudo biblium of all time, the Necronomicon, but also the original Necronomicon by a masterpiece of Italian macaronic literature. All right. So there's names of Broncolonia. Okay, so here's that. So there's other. Let's see. So you got this. You got Wolfcat. These are Roman kingdom since early centuries of Thousand Years' War, and seem no record of their presence earlier in Empire days. While some believe they came from Frangia or Altamanga, scholars from those lands claim the contrary, so mystery remains unsolved. The signs of cat pards and lynxes, wolf cats are felines that have adopted human-like posture, language, and skills, and also similar in their clothing, craftwork, and arts, the use of manual tools. Wolf When dressed and moving on all fours, they look like ordinary felines, but when they assume an upright and bearing and civilized manner, they are comparable to humans in every way. Generally known for their skilled sword players. Yep, so they have the Tabaxi furry race. Then you got the non-existent. But they love to create their own when they start their adventures. Although they technically not as sisters ever lived through any experience at all, they actually pretend they did. So, yeah, there's a animated clothing kind of thing. That's kind of interesting. Then you got the rats, which is apparently is nope is Pantagian, which is the rats. Existence. Hang on. Like I said, non-existent traits, and then you go down and you get Pantagian. Yes. A small rat, men of magical or paradoxical origins. So, possibly new class puppeteer. Marionettes. His place is latest creation on the countertop and whispers, "Come on, Gnappo, show me what you can do." The window of the local branch of the Mount of Fiascos explodes with a cloud of splinters, and 3 grim figures of wood worked from the form of animated monkeys hop out, dragging heavy bags of florins behind them. The bizarre robbers bound down the road and climbed onto the shoulders of their maker, who, enveloped in a cloaked hood, is waiting at the end of the village astride a young racing mule ready to bolt. Oh, I see. At the far end of his smoky workshop, a benign-looking Pantagian is applying finishing touches of his marionettes. He places his latest creation on the countertop and whispers, "Come on, Nappa, show me what you can do." The window of a local branch of Mount of Fiascos explodes in a cloud of splinters, and 3 grim figures of wood worked in the form of animated monkeys hop out, dragging heavy bags of florins behind them. The bizarre robbers bound down the road to climb onto the shoulders of their maker, who, enveloped in a hooded cloak, is waiting at the end of the village astride a young racing mule ready to bolt. A caravan of ambulance reaches the center of the village. A thug with black beard alights from the caravan, and transforms his jalopy into a puppet theater. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, a show is about to begin. The discovery of Triflewood's astonishing faculties has paved the way for the magic art of puppeteers, artisans, and entertainers skilled in creating sentient marionettes, animated puppets, and more common figurines, and making them perform. Having devoted themselves for generations to the sublime art of entertainment, these artisans and their creations are now ready to carry out other kinds of jobs. Often rough and devoid of any comfort, the puppeteer's existence smells of wood. Moving from village to village and from hamlet to hamlet in wagons overflowing with props and carpenter's tools, these ambulants live amidst wood shavings, spare parts, and puppets of all kinds, forever trying to make ends meet. Those who set up their own workshops in the largest town might not be so cramped, but are forced instead to compete with hundreds of others. Theatricals and artisans struggle daily to draw the attention to their artifacts and performances. Yet a puppeteer with a capital P is not a simple carpenter or barker. His creations are animated, prodigious, and sometimes even sentient. In Brancalonia, the puppeteer class consists of craftsmen who have learned to use turquoise wood for their creations and deploy them in shows, battles, shady deals, and all sorts of roguish feats. So basically, you make marionettes, and you can make sort of not quite full-on, like, person-level marionettes. Well, maybe not. Whether they learned woodcutters with nimble fingers capable of the finest creations, or skilled puppeteers who use threads to make their puppets perform the most unpredictable jobs, puppeteers handle Triflewood and know how to make animated puppets of various kinds, also called marottes. Creating and repairing and using these extraordinary puppets via a special bond that forms between the creator and their creation is what puppeteers' lives are all about. What's the difference in terms of play between marionettes, animated puppets, and ordinary puppets? Marionettes are veritable sentient puppets, born of a blend of Triflewood's magical powers and the art and love of their creative craftspeople. The making of a true marionette, the Brancalonia setting books the race, pushes the boundaries in the life of puppeteers and the handling of their class. As these fey beings have their own will, character, and personality, they cannot be bound by the puppeteer's strings. Creating such an individual is more like adopting a child than performing a work of craftsmanship, and these sentient puppets are used as player characters or NPCs managed by the condottiero. They're not subservient to their creators or a puppeteer. I mean, I guess if you had someone who has a puppeteer background who makes one, it would be kind of like having a kid or adopting. Yeah, basically you'd make this person and then hand them over for RP to the condottiero. But you could have them kind of hang around because, well, if your father is this and you're young and inexperienced, what else are you going to do? Sorry. You can't hear him on that side, but Jordan is kind of poking at the tasty treats at the top of the tank. He does that sometimes. I think it's endearing. That's why I feed him little tiny, tiny pinches like snacks. Okay, right. So, what was I going to say? Marionettes are entirely from Marot animated puppets and from inanimate puppets, card figures, spring chests, and other props whose triflewood component is too modest to create sentient being. Puppets with a triflewood heart are animated but devoid of autonomous will and personality. Puppeteers usually have a fair number of the latter special puppets, alongside more common inanimate puppets. Animated puppets have the same depth of thought as mechanical toy or simple automatons and function in a similar manner. They can talk and carry out elementary tasks and sometimes perform their own scripts in shows, but little else. So they're not quite full people, more like a trained parrot, like smart, but not really. Finally, there are inanimate puppets and other common figurines made without triflewood or other magic, simple props manipulated mechanically by puppeteers whose charm lies exclusively in the making of stories they tell and in the smile of their spellbound spectators. And remember, Pranacchio. Never trust those who promise to make you rich in a day. Usually they are evil mad or knaves. Master Stromboli, Morgan Puppeteer. Yes. So yes, it's a whole class feature where you can make these kind of marots and have them do stuff in combat, kind of like an animal companion or a familiar, where you have a couple of them and they do things and you can like order them around as part of your turn. We had actually, if you go and onto YouTube and watch the other Broncolonia, hang on. We were only going to do like a little bit. Now we got carried away, didn't we? If you go here, here we go. Let's one shots. Okay. That's 2001. Mirror America and the Devils. Oh yes, that's the Rogue Trader. Okay, those are in one. They should be moved. Okay. 2023. Oh yes, so this is the Trans line of 2023, which was the other Broncolonia, Sister Katarina's Mysterious Deck.
What's it doing to you?
Yes.
So there we go. That should do it. Yes. Okay. So this is the last one. I'm putting it in the Twitch, and I will put it in there. That is the video from the last time we did a Broncolonia game on the channel, and then you can see the puppeteer in action. I will put it in links to stuff seen on stream, I guess, on the Discord, which you should join the Discord if you haven't already. If you're watching this later on YouTube, and you want to join the Discord, you can ask for a link in the comments, and we can poke around at that. Actually, I think they have private messages. So yes, that was Entire October of 2023. Sister Katarina's Mysterious Deck Part 2. Oh, Part 1 and Part 2. Okay, so yeah, they had... It accidentally got split because we had a power outage in the middle, and so it didn't get set properly, but... Yeah. But yes. Yes. Um, um, there we go. Anyway, point being, this is the second half. I'll find the first half. My point is, yes, this is, but yes, they had, one of them was playing a puppeteer, and we missed one of our players, couldn't make it last minute, so, yes. Okay. In any case, I'm going to officially shut the stream down because we've gone too long anyway, and I need to get ready for work and all that jazz. But thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. Hydrate. I have a glass of my liquid. Yes, I put Gatorade in the coffee mug. My point, yes, hydrate or dihydrate, stretch, move, all that jazz. Um, and what was I going to say? Yes, do that. All of the things. And I will see you next week. Now, we're gonna do a raid. Who are we gonna raid? Let's see. Falcontart, she might have gone live. Sable's there. We raided Sable yesterday, though. All right. Jamie. Oh, we haven't raided Jamie in a while, and it doesn't look like Falcontart's live. All right, we're raiding Jamie. She's an artist, and she does minis, and ooh, she's drawing Pokemon. So you know what? Let's go say hi to Jamie, give her some love, and then we'll be off. All right. Let's do it.